5 lives, 5 destinations, and 5 moments where the world simply opened up and swallowed them whole. Tonight, we descend into a cycle of mysteries that leave logic behind. We look at a traveler who boarded a train and rode it into oblivion, a father who placed a frantic call for help from a dark highway only to vanish before the sirens arrived. We track a man who spent his final days meticulously destroying his own identity, piece by piece. We revisit the chilling scene of a car left running on a bridge with no driver in sight, and the haunting story of a woman who stepped out for a walk and walked straight into a nightmare. No bodies, no motives, just 5 empty spaces where people used to be. The deeper we dig, the more we realize some secrets were never meant to be found. Welcome to another episode of Shizzle TV's Dark Files. Before we unlock these files, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The evidence we've uncovered tonight is something you need to see for yourself. Let's head to the first case. The Tromp Family. On August 29, 2016, the quiet life of an ordinary Australian family of 5 was shattered by an inexplicable descent into terror. Convinced they were being hunted by a silent, invisible enemy, they made a desperate decision to vanish. For reasons that defy logic, Mark and Jacoba Tromp became obsessed with the idea that someone was coming to rob and murder them. Driven by this deep paranoia, they abandoned their successful red currant farm in Sylvan, Victoria. In a state of pure panic, they gathered their 3 adult children, Mitchell, Ella, and Rihanna, and piled into their gray Peugeot station wagon, fleeing into the night without a clear destination. To stay off the grid, they left behind every modern tool, passports, credit cards, and cell phones. When they discovered Mitchell had smuggled a phone, they forced him to hurl it from the window, fearing it was a tracking device. The journey would last 6 grueling days, during which the family would slowly unravel. Mitchell was the first to realize the madness of the situation. After traveling all night, he could no longer ignore the absurdity of their flight. At around 7 a.m. the following morning, Mitchell left the group, refusing to buy into the paranoid theories. Later that day, Ella and Rihanna also reached their breaking point, leaving their parents to steal a car and drive to Goulburn. In Goulburn, the sisters reported their parents as missing, but the tension between them caused a split. Ella was determined to go home to care for her horses, while Rihanna, overwhelmed by the psychological toll, refused to return. Police eventually located Ella as she arrived back at the family farm. Shortly after, Mitchell also made his way back home, safe but confused. However, the mystery of the youngest daughter, Rihanna, was only beginning. Rihanna was discovered in a truly haunting state, catatonic and unresponsive, in the back of a stranger's truck near Goulburn. She was so traumatized by the shared delusion that she could not speak or explain the nightmare she had just escaped, as they spoke about their missing father.
Can you shine any light on or perhaps explain why he may not want to be found?
Because he's scared that people are after him, or he's not in a good state of mind.
And start off on this trip, I think it's just quite a confusing story.
It is very confusing. I still feel confused. I think our state of minds wasn't in the best place. And yeah,
it's hard to explain.
Really, yeah. There's no
bizarre,
one reason for it. It's, bizarre. Yeah.
By the 6th day of this harrowing ordeal, the final piece of the puzzle appeared. Mark Tromp was discovered near Wangaratta Airport, having somehow traveled over 900 miles during his erratic flight. He was immediately detained and taken to the local police station for questioning. Exhausted and clearly agitated, he showed no appreciation for the swarming media presence. As cameras flashed, he famously offered a middle finger to the photographers and reporters who were desperate for an explanation he couldn't provide. Despite an exhaustive investigation, authorities were left baffled. They could find no logical or physical reason why a stable, hard-working family felt the sudden desperate need to abandon their life and flee into the wilderness. Toxicology reports came back clean, confirming that no drugs were involved in their breakdown, and a deep dive into their medical records revealed no previous history of mental illness for any family member. However, the most chilling theory remains a rare psychological phenomenon known as folie à plusieurs, the madness of many. This rare disorder occurs when a close-knit group begins to share the same vivid, terrifying delusions of paranoia and fear. Is it possible that one person's fear simply infected the rest? While this remains the most accepted speculation, the true catalyst for their flight and the invisible shadows they were running from may never truly be discovered. Steven Koecher. On December 13th, 2009, 30-year-old Steven Koecher disappeared from Henderson, Nevada. A well-presented, highly regarded, and active member of his church, Steven chose to embark on a mysterious drive from his Utah residence to his journey's end in Nevada. Steven's vehicle was discovered abandoned in a residential dead-end street. Security camera video depicts him pulling into a parking spot, abandoning the vehicle, and then exiting the camera's view. Within this clip, he is by himself and seems to be strolling as though he has a specific place to go. Upon his car's discovery, several personal items remained inside, including blankets, pillows, and Christmas gifts bought just days earlier. Valuable objects absent from the vehicle comprised Steven's cell phone, wallet, passport, and driving license. For 48 hours following his departure, his mobile signal was detected by a cellular tower located many miles from his vehicle. It remains a mystery why Steven was placing mobile phone calls, where exactly he was, and if it was indeed Steven making these calls. His loved ones are uncertain as to why he departed from Utah, seeing no obvious reason for his vanishing aside from a few monetary worries. There is speculation that Steven may have traveled to Nevada to seek employment or to distribute promotional materials for a window cleaning service. As a dedicated Mormon and faithful to his creed, Steven strictly abstains from consuming alcohol or using any illicit substances. Self-harm is not considered likely. The case remains open and is still unsolved. Andrew Gosling. 14-year-old Andrew Gosling disappeared during September 14th, 2007, and was last seen by his parents exiting premises. This youngster, whom mentors called a numeric whiz within the classroom, was remarkably gifted and deeply favored, was into the goth scene. On the morning of his disappearance, instead of going to school, Andrew returned to his home in Doncaster, England, knowing that his parents had left for work. He then quickly changed out of his uniform, emptied his savings account of its £200 contents, and bought a one-way ticket to London. Andrew, when suggested, declined to purchase a return ticket, despite it being only 50 pence extra. That rejection strongly suggests that the teenager never intended on coming back. A passenger aboard the train noted that Andrew was using his PSP handheld for the entirety of the trip. Puzzlingly, though, detectives subsequently found that he didn't bring his PSP charger along for the journey. This CCTV footage shows Andrew as he walked into London King's Cross Station at around 11:20 a.m., over 150 miles from his hometown, and the last time he was seen alive. His relatives are completely unaware of any possible reason for his travel into London. No further appearances of him occurred, and every quest resulted in nothing, with media, broadcast, and online drives also being useless. His parents have since put funds in his savings account in the desire of finding him, but this cash has never been spent or removed. Numerous feel that Andrew might have journeyed to London to pursue a new beginning. However, 100 pounds was found untouched in his bedroom, which weakens that theory. Several have noted that, while pausing that surveillance camera video, a ghosting of a male is visible on the pane, who seems to be gazing toward Andrew's spot. Was this person someone the schoolboy had planned on meeting? Maybe most peculiarly of all, several years following the boy's disappearance, a caller at a precinct asserted to possess clues about the mystery. But since the station was closed, this person was told to revisit the next morning. However, he never did. The search for Andrew continues until this day. Brandon Lawson. On August the 9th, 2013, 26-year-old Brandon Lawson disappeared from his vehicle on Highway 277 close to Bronte, Texas. After getting into an argument with his girlfriend, Brandon left his home just before midnight before calling his brother a short while later to report that he had run out of gas. When his sibling reached the specified spot, Brandon had vanished from his ride. The car showed no damage and his phone and key were missing. In addition to calling his brother, Brandon also had contacted the police. In this mysterious and unclear phone call, Brandon breathlessly and fearfully asked the police to please hurry and seemed to utter the words, "We're not talking to them." Based on this interaction, one could reasonably conclude Brandon was accompanied by another person. Yet identifying them or the intended meaning of those words remains impossible.
2013 0:50 and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. We're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Although Brandon's 911 call is very hard to understand, repeated listens seems to imply that some unidentified people were trying to take him into the woods, though this speculation cannot be confirmed. Upon reaching the deserted vehicle, the girlfriend of Brandon's brother opted to phone him and was informed by Brandon that he was 10 minutes further along, and he mentioned that he was wounded. This was the last time they ever heard from him. Brandon's family and friends are unable to guess what happened that night, and all speculation has been fruitless. The 29-year-old is a father of 4 with a partner and has no obvious reason to disappear. To this day, not a single sign of Brandon has been discovered. Peter Bergmann. From June 12th to June 16th, a mysterious elderly man with a heavy Germanic accent visited the coastal town of Sligo in Ireland, where he spent his final days. The man registered at the Sligo City Hotel using the alias Peter Bergmann, settling his bill with cash. On June, the remains of this unknown figure were discovered on a shoreline under very mysterious circumstances. Investigators looked at all available CCTV footage in an attempt to work out what had happened to him. Staff observed that every morning when Bergmann exited the hotel, he was carrying a single-use plastic bag. Later in the afternoon, he would return at the hotel, no longer in possession of the bag. It is believed that he was gradually and carefully disposing of his personal belongings, though no evidence has ever been found. During the second morning of his residency, the individual stopped by the neighborhood post office, where he bought 8 stamps and airmail labels. It is likely, then, that he dispatched a number of letters through the mail, most likely to friends and family, but this is only speculation. The CCTV footage assembled from the case shows a great deal of the man's comings and goings inside the hotel and around the town. No video evidence exists showing the instances where he discarded the contents in his purple bag. Detectives suspect that by carefully and deliberately dodging CCTV during those critical periods, Bergmann was trying to conceal his movements and minimize the likelihood of his discarded possessions ever being recovered. It is unknown why this man seemed so intent on permanently hiding his identity, though it is clear that this was very important to him. The real mystery began when the investigators uncovered that the name Peter Bergmann was an alias, as there is no record of anyone in the same age bracket or description possessing this name anywhere. On his final day in Sligo, the man checked out of the hotel with his purple plastic bag and 2 more black bags. He then walked to the bus station where he is spotted on CCTV carrying only 2 bags. The man goes inside the coffee shop and can be seen in the footage pulling out a piece of paper and reading it before tearing it up. He then took a bus to the beach of Ross's Point. Many witnesses saw him and reported that he was pacing up and down the beach and seemed to be behaving strangely. It is at this beach that his body was later found. Bizarrely, the mysterious man had removed all labels from his clothing and had no wallet, money, or any forms of identification on his person. An autopsy was performed and determined that there were no signs of foul play and no signs of saltwater drowning. Additional testing revealed that Bergmann suffered from advanced prostate cancer and multiple bone malignancies. But despite his bad health, the toxicology report showed that there were no drugs, including painkillers in his system, which meant he would have been in a significant amount of pain. The most accepted theory is that the man traveled to Ireland and decided to take his own life. Nevertheless, even with ongoing probes, authorities remain entirely incapable of identifying the individual, determining his cause of death, or uncovering the motives behind his enigmatic behavior. If you like the top 5 documentaries, leave a like to know you're still interested. Subscribe to Shizzle TV, hit the like, and ring the bell icon so we can notify you when the next documentary begins. Until next time, keep your eyes open